Well, hello, guys. My name is Paul Robertson, and I am the creator of the Multiverse project. And today I'm doing the very first Facebook Live broadcast for you guys, just to kind of introduce myself, the project, the things that we're trying to do, the shows we have coming up, and basically what all this is about. And so I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering why are we posting short stories and the things we've been doing on the page so far. And that's what this is about. I want to explain that to you. So I just, at first, there's always going to be in one group. I created this group called the Multiverse Live Show group. And I decided to break apart because we were also going to be starting a book club that's probably going to be the main show that we do. And so I broke those two groups apart. And so I'm broadcasting in the live show group, but this broadcast is also for the book club. So when I'm talking, I'm going to be talking to both groups. If you're interested in both groups, please join them both because we're going to be doing separate things in both. So, like I said, my name is Paul Robertson, and here's a little bit about me. I am close personal friends with Kathy Murphy. She's the founder of the Beauty in the Book book club back in 2001. It's called the Pup Book Queens Book Club now. It is the largest meet and greet book club in the world. I also do her I'm her webmaster, so I do her website. I help her with her book convention. So I'm pretty well integrated into that book club. I have met and become friends with a lot of very successful published authors, best-selling authors. And so I have access to these authors to do interviews, to do different things with. And so that's a little bit about who I am and my involvement in this process has been so far. But what I wanted to do was create a book club that was a little bit more tailored to what I like to read and how I want to discuss things. And so let me explain what the Multiverse project is, and then we'll go deeper into what this broadcast is all about. So it is two groups, like I said, a live show where we're going to be doing world building. We're going to be building worlds with authors, and then we're going to be writing short stories in those worlds. And not only are we going to write them, we want you to write them as well. So with the ultimate goal of doing is publishing a short story collections book on Amazon. And that way we all are participating and publishing a book together as a project for everybody to get involved in, because that's what this whole thing is about, is getting everybody in the community involved. So the multiverse, for you guys who aren't familiar with what that concept, basically the multiverse is a theory by scientists that there are more than one universe out there in existence, and that there's a possibility that there's more than just one version of you out there in existence. It's not provable one way or the other, but in the world of fiction, there is a multiverse that exists because every time an author or creator creates a story, they have to create a world for that story to exist in, for those characters to exist in. And every time they do that, that's creating a new fictional universe. So in the world of fiction, there is a multiverse of universes out there where our stories exist. And so that is why we chose that name to be the name of our community, is the Multiverse. And so this community is going to be about writing books, making films, creating audio dramas, podcasts, making movies, comic books, however you would like to create your stories. That's what this is all about. I'm not going to go into it in this broadcast, this Facebook Live showing, but we are developing an audio drama. So in the world building group, we're going to be kind of giving you some behind the scenes of that process. We are learning ourselves exactly what that process is. But if you've ever been interested in the process for how to create an audio drama for iTunes or any of the hosting sites for audio dramas, so join the group, because we're going to be sharing that. We're going to be doing shows where we show you the process of what we're going through, what we're learning as we go through it. But like I said, this broadcast is in the world building group. So let me quickly explain how this is going to work. Probably on Sundays, because we think Sundays is probably going to be the best day for everybody involved. I'm going to get with some authors that I know, and we're going to build a world. The first world we're going to build, because the genre that we're going to mostly be focusing on in the multiverse, at least in the very beginnings of this, is going to be in fantasy, sci-fi, paranormal, mystery, horror, those type of things that are not the typical contemporary type stories. Basically, if you like vampires or folklore or any of that type of stuff, this is going to be more tailored towards you. But we do have plans for contemporary stuff coming in the future, so stay with us. All right. And so what we are posting free courses for you guys to learn how to write. So like, you don't have to pay for this stuff. We're just going to post courses for you to learn how to get started writing if you're not already a writer. So we want to do everything possible to give you the tools to write short stories, so that as we create these worlds, you can create your stories in those worlds. You don't have to create these things by yourself. So I'm thinking the first show maybe here in a week or two. We're still getting a lot of stuff together, getting the software together to make all this possible. As you can see, this is my first one, so this is very interesting. I've done a lot of videos online, but I've never done Facebook Live, so this is new to me as well. And so that's the first thing we're doing, is the world building project, where we're going to try to publish this collection of short stories from the community. The main thing we're going to be doing is launching a book club. And so there is a separate group for that that we're building. And it's the same genres that we're reading, except that what we're going to do is have 2 shows a month. We're going to have a book of the month that we're reading. And in the middle of the month, we're going to try to read like maybe half the book and then discuss and speculate on what we think the story is going to go, or what we think about the book so far. That way it's kind of like we can actually have some anticipation, like if you're watching a series on Netflix, like if you get halfway through the series, you don't know what's going to happen. That makes it fun to speculate what's going to be going down. And then we're going to have the end of the month discussion, where we're going to discuss the book that we just finished. And so it's going to be spoiler heavy, because if you have not read these books, don't watch the videos until you do, because we're going to spoil everything. Because your typical book club has surface levels discussions about the book because they don't want to really spoil the book. I personally want more than that. Like in the discussion, I want to get into the detail and the plot, into the characters and what happened and all that, just like we do with movie reviews. And so that's what it's going to be. So if that's not your type of discussion, then probably you don't want to be a part of the group. But if you've read the book, I don't see why you would have an issue or problem with that. Okay. It's going to be a talk show. So there's going to be at least 3 to 4 people discussing all at the same time. And so that makes it, that'll make it very interesting. There'll be authors, and we'll get you guys involved as well. We want this to be very interactive. The books will be classics. There will also be new releases. And so be prepared. Like we may do a book that you already read, and then we'll have a lot of books where you probably wouldn't have read, because there'll be new releases that just have been published. And so, like I said, the genres of fantasy, sci-fi, paranormal, mystery, horror, and I got my notes here. So let me share my screen with you so we can talk a little bit about some of this stuff. So let's go here. So this is the Multiverse World Building Live Show. And let's see here. We have a calendar here. So I'm going to have announcements every month where you can, this is the World Building Group. So yeah, like there's going to be announcements about what we're doing, when the shows are, what we're trying to accomplish. So if you ever have a question, just come to the announcements. And then obviously there's short stories here that we've already posted. So over here in the topics, this is where we're going to, like, the universes that we create. The first universe we're going to be writing about is going to be it's called Evolution of the Night. And so I don't want to spoil that, but it's a very interesting premise for a world. But it's going to be called The Evolution of Night, and the audio drama that we're creating, that universe is called The Children. That may not be the final title of that universe, but that's what the name of the audio drama is going to be called. The Children. It's a science fiction, and in the future shows I'll discuss more about what that is exactly. Now, let me go to the book club. In the book club, it's going to be pretty much set up the same way, except it's just going to be more focused on just the book club. That's why I separated them out, because I didn't want to confuse people. It's going to have an announcements here, and then obviously we're going to be doing the live shows. So let's talk about the first book that we're going to be reading. The first book we're going to be reading is called The Fifth Season. It's by M.K. Jemisin. I guess that's how you pronounce the author's name. One of our hosts of the show recommended this book, and so we're actually reading this book right now. You should be able to get a link to get this book on Amazon. It is an affiliate link. You don't have to go through our links though, but it does support the book club and the project, as we're putting a lot of resources into bringing this to you guys. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But it's called The Fifth Season. It's very interesting, a different kind of dystopian kind of future. Very interesting about how the world is one continent again, and then like the elements of the world, like the seasons, and it's a bunch of interesting concepts he has going on here. But this is the book that we're reading right now. We're going to try to have one talk show, one discussion at the end of November, and end of November. So that'll be, I think, the November the 25th. Yeah. And typically probably in the middle of Sundays, like maybe 2 or 4 o'clock Central Time. That's right now. We're putting all this together, like the structure, the times and all that. So that's when the first discussion will be. So if you want to be getting ready for the December book of the month, that book is a classic that I am also excited to be reading, and it's called The Last Unicorn. Obviously, most of us have all watched the animated movie The Last Unicorn, and there's a lot of great stuff to discuss if you've never really dug into it. I didn't even know there was a book until just recently, and it goes a little bit deeper into the actual lore of the unicorn. So I'm very excited to read this book. This is going to be the December book that we're going to be reading. So yeah, go grab that copy of that book. There should be a link to that one as well. But that is what we're doing for November and December. Now, with the holidays coming up, we will have to adjust when we're going to be doing the shows, obviously, because Christmas comes around, nobody's going to be doing this. So maybe we may have to do the discussions a week or so earlier, but that's really what the plans are right now. So how do we get you guys involved? What we're going to do is we're going to have discussions, and then during the discussions, if you are live with us and you want to get onto the show, we can send you a link where you can get onto the software we're using, which is called Be Live, and you can come into the lobby and we can bring you onto the show. Also, because we can't obviously do everyone like that, give everyone access to that, we want you guys to post in the group a short video, preferably 5 or 3 minutes or shorter, a short video, post it to the group, and we're going to do what are called watch parties. And watch parties are basically, we can take all your videos, put them in a queue, and we can all watch those together, because Facebook has the functionality to notify and get everybody synced up, where we can all watch everybody's reactions to the book, to the discussion together. So that's how we can get everybody involved. Plus, we're also going to be doing questions like, who's your favorite character that you've ever, of any book you've ever read? And then you could do like Facebook stories in the group. because in groups you can now do Facebook stories. You can also just post it. So there's a lot of different ways we plan on getting everybody involved. And so that's how we're going to get that interaction between everybody. So everybody in the group can get their opinions out there about what they're reading. And so that's mostly it, guys. Like, I could go on forever here, but I just really want to do an introduction video for you guys to explain to you what's going on. Hopefully you guys can see what we're trying to do, and hopefully you're getting excited about it, because, you know, we want this to be entertaining, but also educational for you guys so that you can learn. I do plan on doing author interviews with my friends that I've made over the years, so that they can explain to you what their process is, what they've gone through, and all those sort of things. I recently just met a film director and screenwriter at a meeting that I have here in Texas, and I've asked him if he would come onto the show, and he said he would. So, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to this that we want to bring to you guys, and hopefully you guys get a lot of value out of it. All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for my first one. I think I covered everything. Let me make sure. If you have a question, just write that question down below in the video, below the video in the comment section whenever you do watch this. Obviously, this is the first one, so people aren't anticipating me talking today, so I was not planning on anybody watching live or anything, but I did want to do this video for you guys so you can see what was going on. Other than that, guys, I think I'm done. Like, once again, I'm Paul Robertson. You'll be seeing me a lot going forward, and I look forward to seeing you guys later. All right, you guys have a good evening.